Okay, this is going to be a response to my good buddy Lukecage29 on his video on The Rock. And it was very passionate, it was very insightful, and it was very good. But this is my response, and I'm going to explain why I am on Team Cena and why people like, not like you, but other people who are so into The Rock just make fans like me against The Rock. And one of the reasons is being that they're so biased towards John Cena, thinking that Cena can't wrestle, Cena can't do this, Cena can't do that, when The Rock can do this and Rock can do that. When in reality, Rock and Cena are pretty much par with each other. Sure, Rock may have better mic skills, but in the ring, they're pretty much equal. The Rock has his sharpshooter, Cena has his STF, Rock has his elbow, Cena has his FU. The Rock doesn't do a drop kick, Cena does a drop kick, leg drop, this and that. It's all, The Rock and Cena are both limited to their in-ring ability, but I think Cena kind of holds an edge, but that's just my opinion. I think that being on Team Cena is pretty much representing why people are so, so biased towards him. I feel that people are just so not against Cena because he's the guy who represents the new era of wrestling. And unlike you, I grew up in The Rock's era. I seen him come up from, the Jerry curled kid in '96 to winning the IC title, losing the IC title in SummerSlam '98 and pretty much making the foundation of a main event star in that pay-per-view. I seen him, in an empty arena match against Mankind to facing Austin at WrestleMania 16-17. And from there, it's like, I've been a lifelong fan of The Rock, where you kind of came in when The Rock just left. And guys like myself and Freaking Yaya 88, we have lived through that, and we can still see through The Rock's bullshit where he comes back and says, oh, I'm here, I'm never leaving again, I love you guys, but, when you think back to past experiences, what has The Rock really done to show us that he loves us? An interview in, I think it was a couple years ago, someone asked him, what do you think of a match against John Cena at WrestleMania 26? And The Rock kind of shrugged him off and said, well, that guy, who's John Cena? And by the way, don't call me Rock, my name's Dwayne. And I'm sure you've heard this argument a bunch of times, but I think it's a big argument, because that time is pretty much where I realized that, man, Rock doesn't care about his fans. He forgot about us. He's moved on to those movie fans, those critics who just love to praise him. Forget about the wrestling fans who made him. And I think what you don't realize is when The Rock smacks a lot of his fans in the face, if he's trying to smack wrestling fans, he's smacking his movie fans, because a lot of his movie fans are wrestling fans. They're the guys who support The Rock the most are fans of his wrestling career. And I'm not going to say I don't watch The Rock's movies. I watched Faster. I thought that was one of his best movies that he's made. Fast 5 was really good. Everything else before that was whatever. Tooth Fairy was okay. But it's just, it's one thing where The Rock says he loves us but he doesn't show up. And you made the argument that The Rock doesn't have to come back at all. And I know you even said you were frustrated that The Rock hasn't come back. But, think of it this way. The Rock has been coming back, big cities only, Boston, New York, Atlanta. I think he came, Chicago, I believe, maybe. But the one where he FU'd, the 1 week before WrestleMania, it was, what was I just saying? Yeah, what happened, he could have came to Miami. He calls Miami his home. Finally, The Rock has come home to Miami. Why couldn't he have come back in Miami, since WWE's been there so many times prior to 2011? He could have brought her front row like she usually is all these events now, and just do his little promo, cut a thing, and no one would complain. But when you come back after 7 years and you think that everything's going to be back to normal with the fans, and I know that it's just a small chunk of people who see through The Rock's bullshit, where The Rock claims that we see through Cena's bullshit. It's total opposite, because I think The Rock's fans are just so biased, thinking that, oh, The Rock represents the Attitude Era, man, I grew up in the 90s, The Rock's the man. But, it's, sure, The Rock, when you put Cena and Rock together, this is what I see. I see The Rock as Stone Cold Steve Austin, I see Cena as The Rock. The Rock, in reality, was never the Stone Cold Steve Austin, and Cena will never be The Rock. And as much as Cena has his fans, The Rock has his fans, when those two collided, everyone was with Stone Cold Steve Austin. No one cared about The Rock. WrestleMania 17, WrestleMania 16, WrestleMania 19. The Rock was always the underdog, pretty much. And this is no different story. The Cena was the underdog against The Rock. And I think that now it's just people love The Rock. People hate Cena because you can't wrestle. And, you know, like, they're par to par, like I said before. And pretty much you say that we have to respect The Rock. I do respect The Rock. You know, I grew up in The Rock's era. You know, I respect the hell out of him. I respect everything that he's done in wrestling. I do not hate The Rock at all. I think that's one thing that you have, you know, misread in your mind, because I respect the hell out of him. I'm sure a lot of Rock haters have this feel the same way. It's just that when you want to appear via satellite, and I'm sure this is another argument that you said, via satellite, it's what do you expect? You know, what do you expect people to think? He's one guy who went on record saying that if MMA was as big as it once was now, as it is now, sorry, that he would not be in wrestling at all. And you want to compare The Rock to Stone Cold Steve Austin, saying, what if Rock, you know, you don't see guys like Steve Austin wrestling, you don't see guys like Shawn Michaels wrestling, when, you know, I know you know that The Rock is 100%. Steve Austin has a neck problem. Steve Austin has knee problems. Steve Austin has back problems. Shawn Michaels has knee problems. Shawn Michaels has back problems. These guys are in their 50s, where The Rock is, I don't know, I'm sure he's not 50 yet, but, you know, he's younger than both of them. So I think that just is a total dumb argument that you just made, no offense, but, and that's pretty much it. Now, you know, I respect The Rock, I respect John Cena, but I think when it comes to the fans who are just so one-sided to the whole situation, that's what makes Cena fans come out and just say, like, you know, screw The Rock. You know, he's hogging the spotlight. He's guys like Del Rio and Punk have been busting their ass all year, and they're gonna take a back seat to that match. Don't call me Rock, call me Dwayne. But yeah, that's all. Leave your thoughts, and I'll see you guys next video.